Hello, YouTubes. This is Campaign Train. Welcome. I'm your host, That Guy Cross. This is the basement. Glad to have you here. Welcome back every Sunday. The ship continues. This week it's the cargo deck. So the deck where we actually put all the precious loot. Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have had a crazy week. My housemate was doing stuff last week. Some of that carried over into last weekend. Since then, that has gotten better, but I still help out with some of their business, and they just had that big show, and so they had a bunch of residual stuff to do. Since then, I have been ill like 4 different ways. I have managed to get through most of that. I'm feeling pretty okay right now, and I am continuing, as you can see right this second, working on this ship. All right, so let me tell you what we're doing tonight. It looks really Christmassy colored. I don't mean it to, but it keeps me, all that stuff I did with the planks on the previous decks, I did the same thing again, only this time I color-coded them so I wouldn't lose track of where I was. I did pretty good on that. So it's looking a little Christmassy. I got red and green and black for all the high contrast reasons. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to jump right into it. I don't have any other weirdness going on right now. Normally I'm like, this happened on this YouTube and that happened on that YouTube, and this week that hasn't been the issue. The issue has been time outside of the hobby. So yeah, just working on it. I'm gonna jump straight into it. I'm gonna once again flash up, this time really quickly, all of my Patreon patrons, which huge thank you to all of these people here that I'm waving behind, under, however you want to word that. Huge shout out to all of these people. Super wonderful people. They keep the channel going, and they keep me gratified that people are wanting to see this. And it's a very tangible way for me to know that I should keep doing this, that nobody's bored, people are enjoying it. So yeah, that's the thing. Loosely Collected went first. Oh, and Mrs. Lynn, technical difficulties cost you first. I'm so sorry. I know you like to be first. You're normally here like right on the dot at 7, but I had technical difficulty, those things myself. So yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'll tell you about that in just a second. Okay, so Patrick, longtime supporter of the channel. That's monetary. Love that. Digital Calibrator, not only monetary, which is crazy because it's a friend of mine in real life who gives me money to do silly stuff. I hugely appreciate that. Also comes over and helps with the audio and video. Dungeon Matron, huge supporter for a long time, also has helped with some of the audio with Providence of Equipment. Dungeon Matron is part of a YouTube channel, finally. It is called Just Flocking With You, and every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Cali time, the 3 of them get together. It's Nick, that's where he does the crafting and things like this, and also has one called Climbing Moss, and Climbing Moss is his man about town. When he goes out and does things and has interesting experiences, that's where he puts those up. Now it says I have an excellent connection, so we shall see. Can you see me and hear me again? Let me know if you can see me and hear me, because otherwise I'm just sitting here hoping. Okay, excellent. Good. Okay, so I don't know where we left off, so I'm going to cover Solo Nick and Mia Geeked again. Solo Nick has two channels, one called Solo Nick, that's about crafting, one called Climbing Moss, that's about social things, like when he goes out and sees things and reports on them. That's good. Okay, so Mia Geeked has a channel, has one video on it so far, but planning on having more, and is also on a Twitch channel called Shadows of Arconia. And I don't know if I'm supposed to mention Twitch, because apparently if you say Twitch too often, Twitch on the YouTubes, apparently it's been messing with people's broadcasts or whatever. So I don't have a Twitch, so they can, get over that real quick. I mean, I do have a Twitch, but I don't Twitch. I suppose I could, but meh. Anyway, apparently we're supposed to say the purple channel now instead. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. Let's go switch to the correct camera. I'm gonna switch to this one over here. And then, as y'all know, I got to turn on the light. It's gonna blind y'all for just a second, and then it goes back to normal. Oh, my eyes. Okay, so each of these is 3 inches off. I just used a 3-inch block and marked each of those off, kept track of which ones are on which, and so after it's all painted and fine, it'll all blend in fine. So that's what I'm doing. I was hoping to be further along than this, but it's been a technical issues kind of day. Though my connection was fine earlier. I don't know why it went all wonky just a minute ago. That was new. And YouTube was saying it wasn't getting anything from OBS. That's the streaming software. And OBS was saying, no, we're good. What's up? But yeah, after a while it kicked in. So my guess is that was probably something on my ISP's end, because, well, Comcast is known for sucking. And apparently they are doing more of that. So now I'm cutting each of these little gaps, and then I've got to go back through after I've cut them with a pencil and widen them, because this knife isn't doing it, but the pencil mauls the boards and makes them look weird. So I forgot which row I was on. Already done that. Okay. Yeah, but I am getting by with what I can. I've been working on the game that I've been writing, so I've made some progress on that this week. I've been between my brain racing and toothache and heartburn and a headache and about 15 other things, I guess. But between those, I've gotten about 6 good solid hours of sleep this month. So it's now the 5th. So that's what, an hour and a half a night? Okay, maybe I've gotten 8 hours this month. I hope the squeaking of the foam isn't too bad. Let me get a couple more of these rows done here, and then I will look at the chat again, and I'll show you what I did on the bottom here of this deck, which is, I'm learning as I go. I've built ships before, but I always built like just a single deck and never tried to make them playable interiors and all that before. So I did, but that one was only like 2 decks and wasn't really a big deal. It was like a tiny little, it was junk. It wasn't junk. It was a junk, like the boat called a junk. So it was much smaller, much easier. Technically, this is a very small ship. If you take this out and base it out on the scale of my scale of 1/48th or D&D's terrain scale of 1/60th. This is actually about right for the tiny, tiny little ships that Christopher Columbus failed to reach America in. He reached the islands near America in them, but this is about the size of the larger one of the three, the Santa Maria. And we've covered all that on previous episodes. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, this isn't even the biggest deck. And I'm like, this thing is monstrous. And then I look at it in scale, and I'm like, no, it's really not. It's just, we think of scale oddly when we see little tiny army men on the table. And I know this is correct because for years I have made houses to about a certain size. And I recently did several bits of research, went down a rabbit hole, and found out that I make all of my little peasant hovel homes pretty much too small. Here, they lived in significantly larger, like 50% larger homes than I typically build for them. I'm like, apparently, I'm a slumlord having people live in sheds, little plastic people. But to be honest, most of my houses are not attached down, and they're made out of foam and cardboard, so they're not really holding up against the big bad wolf anyway. So I'm kind of not the greatest landlord for little plastic people to begin with, but that's the way it goes. All right, my hand is getting kind of crampy here, so before I finish all the ones up here in the bow / prow / front endable part here, I'm going to look at the thing and see. Never in my life will I drink coffee, but I appreciate the offer. You thought about Twitch and it cut me off. Exactly. All right. Loosely collected. Hey, Jess, how you doing? Jess, that's Sim Peasant. Sim Peasant has a channel called Sim Peasant, and plays a lot of really chill. I don't know. I'm old. I call them computer games, but I'm weird. Video games, and has been having a love interest this week in the Sims world. Her character has gotten engagified, which is kind of interesting. I messed up on my drawing, so I have to go mark where I made my cut, and I need to set my hand on the blade, apparently, for some reason to do that. All right. So yeah, go watch, if you want to just chill and watch really laid-back games be played, go check out Sim Peasant YouTube channel. Fun stuff. Good to have you, Jess. Glad to see you. Yeah, Fred Weasley. Totally not the same Fred Weasley. It's a coincidence. Because it's totally not Hogwarts. Totally not. The Magic Realm. It's totally not the Wizarding. I don't know how the Sims are getting away with it. But I don't know if Sim is getting away with it. Okay, so that's cut, ready to go. I can now put walls on it. What I did was, after I made this, there's a reason there's a hole in it. We'll cover that in a minute. The reason I did that is I wanted, where's my other deck? There it is. I don't know if y'all can really see this because it's getting kind of large to even show up on camera anymore. This is not as steep as I wanted upward, so I barely have an extension part on the back here, and there's going to be a whole other deck above this because this is going to have walls, and then there will be the main deck above it. So I'm kind of running out of it. I wanted it to be further forward, like more of the prow to stand out more, but it just looked huge. So I have shortened the bow of this deck. The top deck, the foxhole on the top deck may be a little more forward, more toward the bow than this. So what I have done on this one is when I cut it out, I made sure, needs more hot glue. Good Lord. The layers of cardboard keep coming apart, so I keep finding more and more parts I need to add glue to, which is good because it'll make it more stable in the long run. But what I did was I made sure this time, which I failed on the last one, this time I accounted for the rounded parts that I've been using. And so now you will notice that that's not actually pointy, but this is going to go right here. And I'm going to cut that hole before I put the walls on. So I'm going to do that in just a minute. And also back here. So I have accounted for widening the back because I want the back to be wider for like the captain's quarters and all that at the back. On that one, I probably should have narrowed this. I maybe still can. Because 8 inches, that's going to be 32 feet by my thing. That's pretty wide for a ship. That's like super wide for a ship. But that's only 8 minis across, per inch. So maybe I will shorten, take a ½ inch off of each side on this, and then I can make the, I don't care. I don't care. I'm making a big ass ship. It's a big ass ship. Ship's going to be monstrous. People going to see it and be like, that's a dang old ship. That ship's big, man. I don't know why I went all Boomhauer there, but I do that. I'm from Texas. I'm allowed. Alrighty. So now, before I put the walls on, I'm going to cut the spaces where this will go in. That way it saves me trying to use a blade all the way up the wall and keep it vertical. And yeah, that was a pain in the butt the last couple times. So I'm going to go ahead and markificate these. I know I don't use English properly. You've been paying attention. These are the ones I've been using as my ends here. And that is purely because they were coming to a corner of just foam. And you can already see I've dented my lumber and all of that. So the foam is not the sturdiest stuff. I set it on something and got some gouges in it. I don't care. It's all fine. So this is just to make it more sturdy. So that is what I'm doing. I had the opportunity, so I took it to go ahead and cut these out first. All right. As I ask every week, anybody out there crafting, y'all just hanging out? Hanging out is good. I'm fine with that. No pressure. This one I put glue on. I'm not sure that's going to even make a mark. So let's grab a thingamy and see if I can see where I made the pencil mark. Yep, barely. Okay. Now let's cut those out. Which that ought to be fun. And by fun, I mean a pain in the. So, I can't really do this on camera without getting the wobbly cam for a second. There we go. All right. Currently, the shape looks good. I'm currently reducing. I should be recording Hogwarts Legacy for October, but I need to see. Then you can see. Then now, if YouTube or Twitch are mad at me for saying Twitch on YouTube, then that's one thing. But you are going to be playing both sides because you're going to be playing The Sims Totally Not Hogwarts and Hogwarts. That's probably not kosher for them. But whatever. I don't care. I don't have a horse in that fight, so it's all good. Okay. That knife is what we call dull. Let's see. This should be much sharper. This one's been sharpened and really is to the point I need to replace the blade, but I just don't feel like doing it right now. Y'all don't want to watch me replace blades while I'm supposed to be crafting. I mean, technically that is also crafting, but you know what I mean. Okay, so what I'm doing is, since this is a curve, I am cutting in on these little sides. Oh, okay, god damn it. Well, we're back to the buffering. So And we're back to excellent connection. So I don't know what's going on. That must it must be on my internet's end, not YouTube or OBS. Don't get me wrong. I want to blame everything on OBS. It's not my favorite program to use, but it is the one that there are the most options with. It's another beta versus VHS all over again. It's not the best option. It's the one that's stuck. For those of you who are not old, beta was a type of videotape. For those of you who are not even that old, videotape came before DVDs. For those of you before that old, we didn't always stream every damn thing. Oh, in case you're wondering, I cut in from the edges of the curve, and now I'm using the stab it in the face technique to get the rest of the way around the curve. And I'm sure it's fine. And nobody's worried about my foam and cardboard ship's face. Whew, one more of those. Then I can start gluing walls on finally. I've only been working on this off and on. I haven't really had time. I've sort of been pseudo working on this for 2 days. 2 days this week, not 2 days in a row, because I didn't do squat here yesterday because of reasons. Come on. This one doesn't want to go. Come on, it's one piece of foam. It can't be that tough. There we go. All right. So, it is that tough. There's still pieces left. Ah, probably got a chunk of hot glue in there that didn't want to go. All right. Wipe the goo off of that one. Why is there goo on that one? The glue's not even... Whoop, tried to catch a razor blade. Don't do that. I'm using a razor knife. Clean a razor knife, because why not? All right. This one was not as sharp as I thought. And this one is super sharp, but not as sturdy as that one. All right. Now, I am not gluing the posts in first. I'm putting the walls on first. But I got to create those planks. So you'll be watching me make more planks like I did last time. I did remember to cut them ahead of time this time because I was out. Not out, but low. So these are my original ones. It came from that black paper. These are some new ones. It came from the black white foam core. But these, I did not realize I haven't actually put planks on. So we're not using the black ones today. We're only using the white ones today. Okay, but as you can see, I did these the same way. I marked them off at about eighths. This is 2.5 inches, and then I marked it at eighths, give or take, on the planks. I realize that's a really weird measurement, but that was easier than trying to make 10 out of them on every 1/4 inch. Though I did do 10 every 1/4 inch on the deck. I don't know. I'm doing what I do as I go along. I got nothing. Okay, now these, I want the boards to be longer than these boards. So I got to get a 6-inch piece of cardboard, which I had last week. And I don't know if I have it again or if I put it away somewhere. But it's not that hard to make a long piece of cardboard, a 6-inch piece of cardboard. So we'll do that. Oh, and you'll notice since last week I did flip my mattress, flip my cutting mat, and I'm now using the back side. It is not a new mat. It is just the new side of the old mat. Which reminds me of a lyric, but that's neither here nor there. I've sung enough on this channel. Y'all don't need to be subjected to that anymore. All right, so this one, I'm going to take the first row and make a little mark. Oh, that's right. I need to widen all those on the deck. That's all right. That's really boring. So then I'm going to skip every 2 rows and make the mark again. This is not sharp. I'm gonna have to do this one. These all doubled twice. Doubled as well. Okay, so knife. Oh, you're good. skip 2 rows, and make the mark again. This is why I was using the green pen earlier. Okay, now I need to go give or take. I'm not being all that specific, but about 2 inches off of that, and make a mark. Skip 2, make a mark. Skip 2, make a mark, and then 2 inches off of that, and that's all of them. Okay, now I need to extend those the whole way down. So I'm going to go there and there, and I have no idea where the camera's pointed anymore. That's all right. Yeah, what it does, I don't know if y'all know, but YouTube pops up a little thing that says YouTube is not receiving enough data to maintain a sturdy stream or whatever. I don't know. If your stream stays rigid more than 4 hours, something, I don't know, whatever the doctor's warning is. And then sometimes it'll cut off on you. So sometimes stopping the stream on OBS and restarting the stream technically is the same stream on YouTube, so it continues. That's what I did the first time, and then it messed up again. And so the second time I completely restarted OBS, that's the streaming software, and then that seemed to connect it, but then I realized that no, the problem isn't OBS or YouTube, it's the actual connection. So yeah, that's a thing. I don't know. The joys of technology are kind of like the joys of a hernia. Those of you who are into subtle humor may get the fact that hernia doesn't sound fun. No, you're not. I've had them. It's no good. And that's how I feel about technology some days. Yerp. Okay. Oh, I asked if y'all were crafting and all that. Didn't even look to check. Could be recording hardware. Doing your lumber sounds like a... Yeah, denting your lumber sounds like a personal problem. Yeah. Yeah, well. Yeah. Stuff happens. I'm getting older. Not sure what that has to do with my lumber. There you go. Okay. You know how sometimes the young'uns are like, wait, you mean you had blah back in the day? My most recent one was actually kind of funny. I was on Red Note, and somebody has French Fry Fridays where they talk about potato lore. Well, I've never met a potato I didn't like, so I'm like, sure, we'll take a look at this. And they were talking about waffle fries, and they were talking about how they've gotten more popular and how they're a growing within the fry field. They are a growing popularity and such. And they said that they have been around since the 90s. And I'm like, I guarantee you I had waffle fries in the 70s. So that one made me feel a little old. That should be done. Yeah, okay. Alrighty, so that's one done. And technically I can copy this onto the others. I'm going to need 4 of these for this ship. But I'm going to switch back to the other thing because, like I said, I need to widen these gaps, and it didn't. So I know I'm flip-flopping back and forth, but it's a thing. At least it's not anything where I'm waiting on something to dry. I would imagine that waffle fry cutters now are all made of plastic and come in funky colors, and they look all brand new and like they just invented them this week. And I'm like, they've had waffle fry cutters since The ones I ate in the 70s, my great aunt was cutting with a waffle cutter that I guarantee you was no less than 20 years old at the time. The waffle fries have been around a while. The device for cutting them looks dangerous as hell. Bunch of little wavy things next to each other that are all nestled into each other the same way. And you go shunk across the potato and then turn it, which is now it's trying to come apart. So you kind of have to turn what is now a potato puzzle sideways. And then you have to take the thing and line it up just right and shunk it the other way. And then, yes, shunk it. I've made that into a verb now. You're welcome. And then that is your potato fry, your waffle fries. But the device has scared me my entire life. Potato mashers don't scare me. That's just one wire. It's not sharp. It's all good. We do have one of those onion chopper things where you put the onion in the plastic bowl and slam on the thing. It's not the brand name. It's not the one everybody knows. But that scares the hell out of me because when I have to open it up and clean it, that blade is sharp as anything. And yeah, there are a lot of household devices that make perfectly normal, ordinary foods that everybody's comfortable with that will, that look like they want to take your finger off. Oh, that's fun. I've got a friend that's got, friend's not the right word, a person I know who has 6 digits, polydactyl. Technically, poly means several, and we are all polydactyl, but polydactyl in a human means that they have like an extra pinky or whatever. And I know somebody like that, and I joked with them that I used to have the same thing. I'm just dangerous in the kitchen. Actually, I said I'm dangerous with carpentry because I was a carpenter at the time. I have never lopped off a finger. I was born with the normal requisite 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, and they're all still here, which surprises me, to be honest. I'm not particularly careful with tools. For much of my carpentry career, I always had a bandage of some kind on some hurt finger somewhere. It's not. Dull tools are more dangerous than sharp tools. However, it doesn't matter how good a shape the tool is in or how many safety guards it has on it or how well you know how to use it. The moment you get complacent with it and don't pay attention, that sucker's going to bite you. And it's your fault. It's not the tool's fault. I mean, technically, when I got hurt in doing carpentry, that was kind of a tool's fault. Like, I'm kind of a tool for letting myself get hurt, but that's not the same thing. This right here is monotonous and not nearly as much fun as laying little foam bricks. I would rather be doing that. But here I am building a boat because why not? I really have no idea why I'm building this. I have a scene in not a scene in a game. I have a set of terrain that does involve a port, but I could have made smaller ships or less involved ships, but I are not bright. They're not bright at all. Okay, back to these. Now, you're going to do the same thing. This one is here. Then skip 2. Oh, I have got to put some more contrast on that. I cannot see these. I cannot see where one plank ends and the next one begins. So I'm having to... That's not actually helping that much. Let's see. I think I have a permanent marker, but these have a tendency to actually melt the foam. I don't want to do that. So I got to find another color. I think I've got a dry erase. Yeah, that'll work. Dry erase markers work pretty well on these. So I'm going to do this one in red instead of green. Back to my Christmassy colors. But it will help me keep my lines straight. I will do every other one in ye olde red. A lot of repetition in this making terrain game. Tell you what. Well, I'm going to need 4 of these, so let me go ahead and draw the red lines on the next 2 while I'm thinking about it. Move these out the way. This is the part that really gets me down. It's not the making, it's not the crafting, it's not the coming up with ideas, it's not the repetition really does kind of get to me sometimes. And I'm normally a pretty meditative guy. I just put on something in the background and do my little shtick here. And but sometimes I'm just like, you know, this part's boring. And this part I'm doing right now gets kind of boring. Not so much now, because I'm really not doing that much right in a row here. But man, if I had done like all of the planks for all of the decks all at once, no. That is not for cross. Alrighty. So somebody asked me one time, weren't you at one point gonna use YouTube and other streaming things at the same time? And I'm like, yep, couldn't make it work. I have an IT degree, and I still am like, yeah, this is complicated. I'm not doing this. So for now, sticking to the YouTubes, which is not actually making me happy from some of the stuff that YouTube is doing lately, but that's neither here nor there. Y'all can come over to the Discord, and if I'm suddenly leaving messages about, this YouTube's done ticked me off, well, then you know. But in the meantime, here I am, every Sunday night, doing my thing. Every Wednesday, watching that other one, watch them do their thing. And then, I'm subscribed to like 300 channels. Luckily, many of them, that's not really luckily because I'd rather they were still doing, but many of them don't still do anymore. So a lot less viewing than I used to. But now there's been this big trend with Trent from Miscast and a bunch of other people following suit, and of doing like daily vlog type crafting. And I'm like, nah, no. Because then I got to edit the videos. And even if it's just a matter of mostly just taking the straight footage, I still got to have multiple camera angles for the different parts I'm building and then put those together. And I'm like, nope, that's not for cross. And so I will not be doing that. But I still am planning on putting out more edited videos, I'm not doing one a day. Oh, hell no. I used to do one a week, and that was harsh. So do not expect vlogs from me anytime soon. Sorry if that wrecks you and you're like, how dare you not? Yeah, well, I dare. Okay. That was much easier than the other part. Okay. 2 inches off here. 2 inches off here. Skip 2. That can't be right. Nope, I done screwed it up. This is why I like the, yeah, I'm using spit on my boat. Oh well. This is why I like using the little felt marker first, because that way, I can kind of tell the parts not to cut. Doesn't really get the color off, but once I paint it, all it disappears. But if I use a permanent marker, like I said, it will leave a more pronounced dent in the, yeah, here we go, denting my lumber again. All right. Where are we at on the chat over here? Sliced potato, sliced finger, no difference to the mandolin. Yeah, oh no, I don't use a mandolin. No. I do if it's got the little push downy thing. And people are like, that's not efficient because you leave some of the vegetable. I'm like, yeah, but I also leave some of the finger. I don't like mandolin cutters. That's injury waiting to happen. Inappropriately touch my table saw's blade. Yeah, they are unforgiving. Table saws do not mess around. No. I have never done that. My personal fun thing I've done with a table saw is I had a piece back. For those of you who don't know what backing is, that's when the wood goes backward. When you're cutting on a table saw and the wood goes backward, that's where your pee-pee is. Yeah, that's not at all frightening. That was not a walk it off kind of thing. That was a lay on the floor and cry like a tiny, tiny child thing. And my boss at the time wasn't even mad. He came over and hit the emergency shut off on the saw and was like, all right, let me know when you're up. Okay, I'll do that. Oh. Yep. That hit me in an inconvenient area. Was not pleased. Technically, that kind of injury, that would any place in Texas would have been an inconvenient area. But it hit me right in the, yep, that area. Okay. I know I make it sound glamorous and fun being in the carpentry industry, but there you go. Trying to make noise so you don't think I drifted off again. I may have drifted off again. I'm not looking at the screen. YouTube is pretty good about telling you, hey, your thing's screwing up. Do some stuff. But sometimes there's nothing for it but to let it do its thing and move on. Today, managed to fix it so far. I would knock wood, but there we go. Knock wood. All right. So I'm going to go this way because I'm right-handed and this just makes it easier. So, one here. Skip 2. Skip 2. Oh. Yep. Okay. Here. Skip 2. I swear I'm almost done with this part, and then I can cut this part, and then after I've cut this part, I can widen this part, and after I've widened this part, then I can put the parts on. So almost not even remotely done. But like I said last week, or was it the week before? I don't know. I don't mind it just being repetitive, just doing stuff over and over on here, because this really shows anybody who's new kind of what's really involved in all of this. So nobody going in with misconceptions as to how to, oh yeah, it's like the 1-minute videos on the tiki-takis where you just go beep, 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 and then, to ship. And I'm like, no. I'm not making fun when I say tiki-takis. I'm just being silly. Hey, DJ I would follow them on YouTube, not TikTok, but they just hit 2 million on TikTok and 215,000 here on YouTube. I'm like, well, look at you. That ain't bad for a 13-year-old girl. Man, she can drop the beats. She is so good. I don't remember the name of the channel. Gabby something, but it's Gabi. That's her name. And yeah, I really enjoy listening to her stuff, and I'm very proud to be one of the 215,000. Actually, already at 216,000. She just dropped a celebratory 2 million and 215 video like 2 days ago. Yeah, no, early yesterday, and she's already got another 1,000. So that's kind of cool. I think it's DJ Gabby. I think that's all. That's the name of the channel. It's just DJ Gabby. And yeah, fun stuff. I like her beats very much. If you're into techno and dance, she's dropping it hot. Oh, I missed one. Dang it. Oh well, one more. Sorry, told you I was almost done, and I lied. Drawing more little lines across little pieces of foam. Kind of a fun hobby, really. A lot of math involved. Have to do this one, then skip 2 rows, and blah, 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 blah. But all in all, could be worse. There are some hobbies I look at and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't understand why people are into that. But I'm not yucking their yum. I don't see golfers coming on my YouTube channel and telling me, you should be playing golf. I'm like, well, I'm not over there telling them they need to build stuff with foam. So it all works out. Heard a joke the other day. If you want to play on long time revenge on somebody and you're really, really angry at them, give their kid a set of polyhedral dice. I am a little jealous. I see lots of people lately, like other crafters that I follow and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I was doing this with my dad the other day, and I'm like, man, my dad still thinks this stuff's satanic. Like, I'm playing with little plastic army men, Dad. It's not... Anyway. But if you do this with family members and you have a good time, that is fantastic, and I am for it. It is not the experience that I have lived. I wish, but nope. Now, I say that, but my sister is the one that got me into D&D in the first place. But that's because she's the golden child and can do no wrong. So even though it was the height of the satanic panic, my sister was doing it, so I got to do it as well. So for that, very happy. But yeah, might be kind of fun to play games with your family. Not Risk. My brother is too good at Risk. I've never seen him lose to anybody ever. Don't play Risk with my brother. Don't. It's literally just not fun. He's not gloaty about it. He doesn't get in your face about it. He's just, at one point you're like, this is diminishing returns. I can't win this. I'm out. Okay, finally, all my planks are drawn. Now I have to gap them. I'm going to try it with just the relatively sharp pencil point and see if I can do that. But nope, it's already ripping out. So I think I'm going to have to, yep, I'm going to have to cut every one of these because why not? I don't know. There's like 14 different ways to do shingles, and I've tried all of them. I have the way I do it. I use strips of foam. I cut a block of foam, then I either use a jig or just eyeball it and make cuts into each of the edges of each of the shingles, and then once the whole block has that texture on the edge, I cut across it in little tiny thin slivers to get shingle layers, and then I lay those on. Now, some people go and texture each of those even more so, and I'm like, no, I don't bother with any of that. They're going on relatively smooth and flat. I've only got so much patience in me. Sometimes I do go back after on the foam ones. I also do ones with card in a similar manner, like food card, that thin cardboard. But on the foam ones, I do sometimes go back and texture roll them, like with a rock or something. Excuse me, sorry about that. But no, I've seen a bunch of different ways, and I've done a bunch of different ways with shingles, and I'd probably be okay with pretty much any of them. This is a pain in the butt. I would rather lay individual shingles all day long or strips of shingles all day long than this. That having been said, how do you do your shingles? Yeah, Scriveners are good. Scrivener blades are... I knew somebody that was like a 40-year veteran of carpentry, and he has like multiple hand rip saws and multiple hand crosscut saws, and was not aware that there are circular blades for table saws and radial arms and what's the other word for radial arm? Miter saws, that are for specific things as well. And he didn't know that. He was like, what? No matter who you are, no matter how much you're into something, somebody somewhere is going to do a thing. You're going to be like, well, today I learned. It's like some of the early videos on my channel where I was using more EVA foam, because that's where I came from last. My last hobby I kind of gave up to get to this was cosplay. And I use a lot of the EVA foam in armor and stuff like that. And this needs a definite sharpening on this knife. We're going to set that off to the side. We're going to grab another sharp one and keep on going. I will sharpen once at once. Here we go. Ah, that's much better. So, yeah. There are blades that are designed to be multi-directional. Doesn't matter which way you run the wood across the table saw. And there are some that are not so much. And if you don't know that, you can cause yourself a lot more wear and tear on the blade, a lot more chance of injury, a lot more time, because they just take longer to get through the wood the incorrect direction, etc., 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 etc. What is that from? Is that a Monty Python reference? From an old movie or an cartoon or Monty Python or something? I don't know. A lot of my pop culture references that are over 30 years old just kind of run together in my head. Good Lord, you're old. Yes, yes. It's getting a little on in time. I didn't think I was going to go this long because I've been feeling kind of crummy. But this is going along pretty well. Let's see what I'm at. Right at 8 o'clock. See, man, I always know when it's right at 8. So I guess I will go somewhere between 1 and 30 more minutes. But I don't think I'm going to get these glued on tonight. But every time I say that, I get one more step ahead than I think I do. But what I really wanted to show y'all tonight, really, okay, I need to put this one off the side so I know that's the one I've done. What I really wanted to show tonight was I was trying to have, before this whole stream started tonight, what I wanted to have done is this whole deck to this point, and did not get there. This is the bottom deck, so it stays rigid, stays solid. But this, I had to make, I don't know if y'all caught this, but that is exactly 3 inches by 3 inches. Pretty tight fit, but it's 3 inches by 3 inches. So then I had to take this deck, which did not have a hole in it. Hello. And then I had to, it lines up on here, hypothetically. There it goes. But I didn't know exactly where these were on it and all of that. So I had to take this and very gingerly and delicately hand move it by this side to side and then sort of mark where the things were. And once I got this all set, you notice in my first video where y'all saw it, I did these in squares around the bottom of the mast. The next one I actually did round, which is what I should have done here, but I'm not going back and fix that. So I did all that and got all that installed. And then I had to find exactly the center line, easy enough. And then I had to put these supports exactly 3-inch gap, which I did. And then take this and put it in like that, and then draw a line around it. And then at some weird funky angle, had to stick the knife down in there and cut this square out. But you will notice, bragging on myself here, that I did a pretty good job of lining that hole and those masts up. So yeah, that's for the cargo crane or winch or rope or block and tackle or whichever to drop goods all the way down into the bottom deck. This deck is for sleeping on. This deck is for the cruise goods. This is the stores deck. This is the quarter deck, the deck with the quarters where they live. This deck that I'm building now, which will have a hole on it in it as well, is the cargo deck. So cargo will be on this deck, and so that elevator-y thing needs to be able to get through this, all the way to the bottom. So this one will be much easier because all I have to do is take this part and flip it over, and then I can just reach in there with a pencil, draw the line onto the cardboard, pull that out, and then I'll have a square to cut. This will be much easier. I probably should do that now before I actually glue the walls on, but I'm not planning on getting the walls glued on tonight anyway. I'm planning on it, but it's not going to happen. So what I am going to do is I will probably cut that hole before I put the hull on this part of the ship. It's not walls, it's the hull, but it's the same thing. Okay, this part, have I already gapped all of those? Yes, you are good to go. Did I put the one back here that I've already done? Yes. Okay, so all of these 3 that are closer. Not ready for the pencil yet. And I don't think I gapped that with the pencil either. I think I only used the knife on that. And here we go. More and more of the same. All right, let me, before I get too far into this next one, let me check the cut random rectangles from cereal box card and glue them on individually by hot glue. Oh yeah, and I've done that too. I like that, except it has to be for a certain look because there's no way you're getting those even. And so they're all I never remember the difference between shingles and shakes, but whichever one's on roofs, they're a little bit slapdash, and that's fine depending on what era or society type you're going for or whichever. It's all a fantasy world, so you make that up as you go along. So it's not like this has to be exactly like they did in Germany from 1492 to 1494 and no different. No, none of that. I don't do any of that. But yeah, and I don't mind the slapdash. No two the same. But yep, I'd rather be doing that than this. I will stick on individual shingles or bricks any day before doing this. I'm never doing herringbone again. Sorry, Lisa, if you're watching this. I'm never doing herringbone again. That looked so bad and was so horrible that when it accidentally got damaged and I could fix it or I could not fix it, that got turned into rubble. that whole thing that I spent like 3 whole videos on, or 2 whole videos on, doing that herringbone pattern on top of that city block. No, the one with the stairs in it. That whole block, the stairs, the thing, it's all dead, it's all gone. And I am not one of those artistic-y type people who can take stuff and be like, oh wait, no, that looks cool, but what if I rip this part off? No, I'm not that guy. Once it's done, it's done. And I was like, I could fix this or not. And part of me was like, no, don't throw it out. Never throw it out. Never. And I was like, no, I can't stand it. It was too damaged. It was too infuriating to make in the first place, and so that was no fun. But typically, I find putting bricks on very meditative. And in fact, my other ones where I just did a whole herringbone pattern and wasn't trying to go around those stairs or that lozenge in the middle or any of that. For lozenge is a term for a diagonal square in the middle of a pattern. I was so over that piece by the time that it broke that I was like, oh, good. Good, I'm tired of dealing with you. Felt like Fred Sanford slamming the door on somebody. I know, I'm old. That's another old person reference. Bad part is, most of the time, I don't really feel that old. This week has sucked, but typically I don't feel all that old. At your age. What am I, like 14, I guess? I don't know. That's not true. I was an a-hole when I was 14. Not really that bad, but there are jokes I cracked in high school that I think back on those jokes now, and I'm like, oh, what an asshole. Oh, well. Hey, I got bleeped. YouTube always bleeps you when you say stuff like that. Which is weird, because my channel is set as not for kids. I don't know why YouTube feels the need to bleep out adults having adult conversations with adults, but, you know, whatever. I find all censorship to be distasteful at some level. But having a private company say, we don't like those words, so you can't use them, I'm like, all right, I get that. That's your prerogative. Do I wish there was other alternatives for places for me to go do videos? Oh, yes. But there's no way I'd have a market on any of those, because nobody's going to come watch me on, you know, something with a millionth the viewership of YouTube. Unfortunately, YouTube is a accidental monopoly. I mean, they certainly fight to keep it that way, but kind of got here by chance. Okay, I'm going to stop right there and look at the screen here. A lot more of the roofs on my builds are wrecked or ruined, so I leave holes with bare broken frame hanging out. Yeah, that's kind of cool for all of the Frostgrave stuff. Mordheim irritates me, because Mordheim's been damaged for, what, 1,100 years or 1,300 years or something like that, according to the lore. There wouldn't still be lumber. The lumber would have all rotted away. But, you know, whatever. I do like the fact, and I still joke, and I think it's perfectly valid. Hey, I built this perfect house. This house is great. I love this house. This house is wonderful. Oops, dropped the house on the floor and broke it. Well, I guess it's more time now. It's not broken. It's more time. Or Frostgrave. Or what's the other one? It's like Frostgrave. That's cold. You know. I do not build for that thing. None of the games I play has that kind of lore unless it's like a one-off. Like you go to the town and the town has recently been destroyed by such and such. Then I might need some broken buildings here and there. But typically I don't build broken buildings. So, you know, I'm telling you right now, honestly, I have gotten to the point where I have no desire to ever build a playable interior anymore, because what I can do on like a regular house, because what I can do is I can just plunk down a small board that just small, you know, with the little squares on it or whatever, and be like, this is the interior of the house. And that way there's not walls in the way of seeing what you're doing or where you're moving the minis or anything like that. I do actually prefer to have the houses where they're playable interiors. You can pop the roofs off and see the walls, because that way you can do things like have wall hangings or art or mirrors or whatever and work that into the lore. So I do actually prefer that, but it's so much of a more pain in the butt. And I don't like the truly modular stuff. I used to go for that, and I've built a lot of the dungeon tiles and things like that, the 3-inch by 3-inch and all of that. But I typically don't need them or use them for anything really, especially since I don't play gridded. I don't know. We each have our own different ways of doing things, and mine is the absolute least popular, so that's all right. I'm used to it. I've never been the target demographic, so it is what it is. I am neither grim, nor dark, nor ruined, nor modern, or nor futuristic. I am. None of that appeals to me. Now, anybody was ever playing one of my games, they're like, oh my gosh, I thought you said you don't get grimdark. I'm going to have nightmares. I'm like, but typically speaking, but man, if I got to lay the creepy down, I can do it. So, this repetitive part here, it just gets me. I'm just like, ugh. All right, so I am almost, I think this is my second one of 4 that I've got to put this little gapper in to make the planks pronounced. Was that 2 of 4 or was that 3 of 4? I don't know. You're definitely done. Are you done? No, you're not done. Are you done? You're definitely not done. Are you done? Yes. Okay, so I've done 2 of 4. Excellent. I thought I'd only done 1 and was like, no. So, what'd you do tonight? Watch the guy draw on the same piece of foam 4 times. Actually, I didn't make you watch it 4 times because I'd already had the long lines laid out before we got here. So you did that. That was pretty simple. Just marked them off on each end of the strip, like, you know, like this, and then put a straight edge across it and went to town on that bad boy. Somebody asked me one time how many little foam or card tiles I've laid onto terrain, and I couldn't give them an answer. All I could say is I definitely, absolutely know it's more than 1 million. I have done corrugated card for big, thick, chunky shingles. I've done foam in like all sorts of different ways and sizes. I've done foam food card. I've done card stock, the thicker paper, which I actually like, but it's not something that you'd really want to play with often because it's super easy to peel up the edges and mess it up. So food card's actually superior, but the thinness of the regular cardstock, I think creates a better look, but it's brittle's not the right word, but it's not sturdy. It won't come off or anything. I mean, it's paper and it's glued down. It's got 3 layers of paint on it and whatever else, but it if the edge comes loose, you can catch it on stuff and peel it up. And food card, you can do the same thing, but it's sturdier. Aha, time to start gluing things on. Nope, time to cut a hole in the bottom of the deck. So what we are going to do is we're going to flip you over. We are going to flip you over. And then these pieces are exactly, or as exact as I can get by hand, over the edges of that hole in the middle. So I can use these as my edges of my square, except they are flexible, and I don't know that that's really going to work. I think if I hold it down by hand, yeah, there we go. Now the front and rear ones, the aft and fore ones, are easy enough because they are braced on the back by the mast, and all of that glue and everything makes that one really sturdy, but these on the sides can be a little flexy. Now, technically, I should have put more beams here and here, but then I can't get minis in it. So we're just going to pretend those are on the ceiling. Yep, totally on the ceiling. Yep. Okay, so I just did all of that lovely deck earlier, and now I'm going to cut a hole in it. Probably shouldn't be using, I'm not going to use that knife. I'm going to use one of my easier to control, doesn't get away from me knives. And I'm doing this in multiple layers. This is double layered corrugated. I don't know if you can see that, but it's double layered corrugated. And then a layer of foam, and I'm just taking it like one layer of paper at a time. If you're worried about the cut getting away from you, you always want to start in the corner and move out from it. And so I'm not quite actually cutting all the way here. I am cutting almost to all the way there. You only really need to do this on the first layer. After that, it's pretty good because the blade just sort of follows the guide you've laid down already. But now I'm going to go this way and go the other way. And that way, you don't get squirrely in the corners. Which sounds like I'm talking about race car driving, but whatever. It all works the same way. Okay, it doesn't work the same way. Using a hobby knife does not improve your handling in the corners. But it's all right. It's to drive race cars. It's bizarre. That's a thing. But yeah, I'm not upset I got out of that sport. Though I'd be in a lot better shape because race car driving really, really does require you to be pretty healthy. Sweating in those suits, and there's a lot of abdominal muscles needed when you're fighting G-forces to get around a corner. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm just rattling about stuff that happened in the 80s. But it was fun. So the third time I found myself literally upside down, sliding down a racetrack. I was like, maybe being upside down is not at 100 miles an hour is not great. Okay, are you free of the ship? I think it's free. It's just not free. There we go. Okay, I could probably use that as a tile. Is that the same height as? Yeah, I could use that as a tile. What do you know? Okay, so Last time, I then took these and very slightly undercut them so that you could really see the corrugation looking at it. So I cut it back at a slight angle. I actually sanded it back at a slight angle and then filled it with hot glue so it became more solid. That saves me the trouble of having to try to put a piece of paper in it to line it or anything like that. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. So by next week, this whole deck will look something like this, and I will have the other deck cut out, but that one's going to be totally different because it won't have the full pole structure on the side. That's going to be the top. So there's going to be a railing along part of it, a bunch of it, and then 2 cabins. And I don't really know how I'm doing those yet, but we will think about that for next week when there's a front and aft cabin on the deck above this deck. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. It is 8:20 by my time, and I don't like to keep y'all more than an hour and a half anyway. So I think I'm going to shove off for the evening. But yeah, this hole goes all the way through. So this will have a beam here, a mast right here, another set of these cross pieces here, and pretty much look the same as this. Now, some of these, since this is now a much wider deck, some of these may be a little too flexible, so I may have additional support pillars like this white foam one here, like here or here. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, and just to, since this was 3 inches between the beams, I also went 3 inches between the beams here and here just for uniformity. So this one didn't need it because I only got the one set. So let's look at what I got so far, and then I will switch to the other camera and let y'all get on with your lives and see y'all next week. But let me get this situated here. That's what we got so far. Wobble cam, sorry about that. That's whoops, meant for that to move with it. So that's what we got so far, and it is much bigger than I wanted. However, when I have it come into port and it's in port and I'm not having to have people play on it, I can always take out 1 or even 2 decks and make it as if it's sitting lower in the water. These decks would be, the water line would be just about here in reality, and this deck would be entirely underwater. So this is just so I have a full playable ship, which I at some point decided I was going to do, and now I'm following through on that. And so, like I said, you don't have to build one anywhere near this massive. You don't have to build one anywhere near this specific. You don't have to make it playable. You could just build one deck with maybe a forecastle and a captain's quarters, and on the poop deck there. And y'all thought I was going to go the whole time without saying poop deck, didn't you? So there's any number of ways to do it. I'm using a bunch of 3-inch squares just taped together just as my 3-inch by 3-inch. This has nothing to do with the boat, the ship, other than it's the size I need to gauge where things are going. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that. Let me make sure all of my knives are closed, or put away, the one that doesn't close. And then I will switch to the other camera. Let me switch this lamp off, and then I'll switch to that camera. Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties earlier. I don't know why I'm apologizing. It's not my fault. That's probably Comcast's fault. It could be YouTube or, I don't know. Been that kind of week, been that kind of day. So ship is coming along. I don't really know what I'm doing after the ship live-wise. After the ship is done, I know I plan on putting out a video. I have promised somebody, not promised, stated that I would probably, my intent is to put out a rubble video. I'm going to make little piles that can fit like just in a cavern. I'm going to make some that look like a cave-in in an actual built-out dungeon, like walls have caved in, or old castle's ruins. I'm going to make some of those that are little piles that look like they just fell in the middle or have been pushed in the middle. I'm also going to make some that fit like in a corner. I'm going to make some that look like rock and sand and such piles, like rubble, like where people have literally gone outside of town and just thrown stuff on a pile, kind of stuff. What they call fly tipping in UK. We just call it dumping here in the United States. Yeah, so that's my plan. Finish the ship. Don't know what I'm doing live after that. Sometime after the ship is done, then I will be building little rubble piles. Beyond that, I have no idea. Meanwhile, I'm working on writing the game. If y'all are interested in that, come hit me on the Discord. Links are down in the down belows. You can ask me on the Discord anything you want about any subject that's not politics. That's the only thing I don't allow on the Discord is the politics or anything adjacent. So yeah, if you want to talk about crafting, if you want to talk about computers, if you want to talk about fantasy art, anything like that, hit me up on the Discord down below. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I hope this hasn't been too incredibly boring. And rubble hamburger mode. Yeah, exactly. Rubble. Or rabble, which is the South part when they have crowds. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted. I got distracted from my live stream with my live stream. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. I come here and I just chill out and make fun stuff, and this is my way of relaxing. It's that's all. So I hope it's enjoyable for you. So if you build anything in miniature, I hope this has been helpful for you or inspired you or just been like, wow, other people think like me or whatever. Dollhouses, fairy houses, wargaming terrain, role-playing game terrain, book nooks, anything like that. Glad to talk about any of that you want, either here on the channel on the chat or on the YouTube. I mean the Discord. So yeah, hit me up. All right, so this has been Campaign Terrain. As ever, I've been your host, That Guy Cross. And Red Dog Terrain, hey, making a late showing. Hey, good to see you, man. And then yeah, so until next week. Nope, sorry. As ever, you're always welcome in my basement on Sunday nights. I'm here. I try to be here every week. Okay, until next time, I wish you luck in your campaign, whether it's in real life or on the table. I love you, and I hope you have a great week.